Let's talk about something that's going to completely shift how you understand romantic attraction. Most men have this backwards, and it's costing them everything. They think love is about grand gestures, perfect timing, or saying exactly the right words. But the truth is far more fascinating and way more predictable than you think. Picture this scenario. Two guys meet the same woman at the same party. Guy number one immediately starts showering her with attention, compliments, and promises to take her anywhere she wants to go. Guy number two has a brief, engaging conversation, makes her laugh, then excuses himself to talk to other people. 3 months later, guess who she's thinking about when she can't sleep? Spoiler alert, it's not the guy who handed her his heart on a platter. The reason comes down to basic human psychology, and once you understand it, everything changes. Women don't fall in love the same way men do. When a man sees an attractive woman, his interest can spike instantly. It's like flipping a light switch. But for women, attraction builds more like a dimmer switch, gradually increasing over time through specific psychological triggers.
The first trigger is what psychologists call the scarcity principle. When something is easily available, we naturally value it less. When something requires effort to obtain, we assign it higher worth. This isn't manipulation, it's basic human nature. Think about your own life. The job you had to interview for multiple times probably felt more valuable than the one that hired you on the spot. The restaurant with a waiting list seems more desirable than the empty one next door. In relationships, this translates to emotional availability. The man who's always free, always texting back instantly, always agreeing with everything she says, accidentally signals that his time and attention have no competing demands. Meanwhile, the man who has boundaries, pursuits, and isn't constantly available creates the impression that his attention is valuable because it's selective. But here's where most guys get confused. This doesn't mean being a jerk or playing games. It means being genuinely busy with a life you're excited about. When you have hobbies, goals, friends, and interests that energize you, your attention naturally becomes more valuable. You're not withholding it strategically, you're simply living a full life that others want to be part of.
The second psychological factor is investment theory. People become emotionally attached to things they invest in, whether it's time, energy, or thought. This is why someone might love their beaten-up car more than a nicer one they just bought, or why you remember the vacation you planned for months more fondly than the spontaneous trip someone else organized. In attraction, this means the more a woman invests in getting to know you, the more emotionally connected she becomes. But most men reverse this. They do all the investing, all the pursuing, all the work, hoping she'll appreciate their effort. Instead, you want to create opportunities for her to invest in the connection. This could be as simple as letting her choose the restaurant, asking for her opinion on something meaningful to you, or having her teach you something she's good at. When she puts effort into the relationship, she unconsciously justifies that effort by becoming more invested in the outcome. The third element is mystery and curiosity. The human brain is wired to seek completion. We're bothered by unfinished stories, unanswered questions, and unsolved puzzles. This is called the Zeigarnik effect, and it's incredibly powerful in attraction.
When you reveal everything about yourself immediately, you eliminate curiosity. There's nothing left to discover. No reason for her mind to keep returning to thoughts of you. But when you share pieces of yourself gradually, each revelation creates anticipation for the next one. She starts wondering what else there is to learn about you. This doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means being selective about what you share and when. Instead of downloading your entire life story on the first date, let it unfold naturally over time. Let her discover your depth gradually, rather than overwhelming her with everything at once. The fourth factor is emotional contrast. Humans are comparative creatures. We understand happiness better after experiencing sadness, appreciate calm after chaos, and value presence after absence. In relationships, this means that constant, unchanging positivity can actually become emotionally flat. The most memorable relationships have emotional variety, moments of deep connection alternating with playful teasing, serious conversations balanced with lighthearted fun, times of closeness mixed with healthy space. This emotional range keeps the relationship dynamic and engaging rather than predictable. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake men make. They try to convince women to like them through logic. They list their good qualities, explain why they'd be a great boyfriend, and essentially make a PowerPoint presentation for why she should choose them. But attraction isn't a logical decision, it's an emotional experience. Women fall in love with how you make them feel, not what you tell them about yourself. Do you make her feel curious about what you'll say next? Do you make her feel like she's interesting when she's with you? Do you make her feel like she's part of something exciting rather than just being observed and judged? The most attractive men don't try to impress women, they create experiences where women impress themselves. They ask questions that get her talking about her passions. They suggest activities that bring out her playful side. They create an environment where her best qualities naturally emerge. Another critical element is leadership, but not the domineering kind. It's the kind where you take responsibility for creating positive experiences. Instead of asking, "What do you want to do?" you suggest, "Let's try this place I heard about." Instead of, "Where do you want to eat?" you say, "I know a spot you'll love." This isn't about control, it's about initiative and confidence. Women are often attracted to men who can make decisions and move things forward because it signals competence and reliability. But this leadership must come from genuine care for her experience, not from ego or a need to control. Let's address the timing aspect. Most men either move too fast or too slow. Moving too fast means trying to get serious commitment before she's emotionally invested. Moving too slow means never escalating the connection beyond friendship. The key is matching her pace of emotional investment while gently leading it forward. This requires paying attention to her signals. Is she initiating more contact? Is she making time for you in her schedule? Is she sharing more personal information? These are indicators that her emotional investment is growing, and you can respond by gradually increasing your own investment level. The role of challenge is also crucial, not in the sense of making things difficult, but in the sense of bringing out her best self. When you have standards, when you're not impressed by just her appearance, but genuinely appreciate her character, intelligence, or unique perspectives, she feels challenged to show you more of who she really is. This is different from being hard to please or judgmental. It's about being someone whose opinion matters because you see and value things that others might miss. When a woman feels like you see something special in her that she might not even see in herself, that creates a powerful emotional connection. Physical attraction plays a role too, but probably not the way you think. While initial physical attraction might get her attention, it's your energy and presence that keep it. Confidence, humor, passion for your own life, the way you treat other people. These things affect how attractive you appear more than your actual physical features. This is why some men who aren't conventionally handsome can be incredibly attractive to women, while some very good-looking men struggle with relationships. It's not just about how you look, it's about how you carry yourself and the energy you project. Here's something most dating advice gets wrong. They tell you to act confident, but manufactured confidence is easy to spot and unattractive. Real confidence comes from genuine self-acceptance and having a life you're genuinely excited about. When you're passionate about your work, your hobbies, your goals, that energy is magnetic.
Women are drawn to men who are drawn to life itself. When you're excited about your own existence, that excitement is contagious. She wants to be part of whatever you're building, whatever adventure you're on, whatever story you're writing with your life. The concept of emotional safety is also vital. While mystery and challenge create attraction, emotional safety creates the foundation for love. This means being consistent, trustworthy, and emotionally stable. It means she can be vulnerable with you without fear of judgment or rejection. Many men think they have to choose between being exciting and being safe, but the most attractive men provide both. They're adventurous enough to keep things interesting, but reliable enough to build a future with. Let's talk about the difference between wanting someone and needing them. Wanting comes from abundance. You have a good life and you want to share it with someone special. Needing comes from scarcity. You feel incomplete without someone else. Women can sense this difference immediately. When you want a relationship, you're relaxed, playful, and authentic because you're not desperate for any particular outcome.
When you need a relationship, you're tense, trying too hard, and molding yourself into what you think she wants. The first is attractive, the second is repelling. This is why working on yourself isn't just dating advice, it's life advice. When you have interests, goals, friendships, and activities that fulfill you, you naturally become more attractive because you're not looking for someone to complete you, you're looking for someone to complement you. The final piece is understanding that attraction is a process, not an event. It builds through accumulated experiences, shared moments, and gradual revelation of character. You can't rush it, force it, or logic your way into it. You can only create the conditions where it's likely to develop naturally. This means being patient, being authentic, and focusing on creating genuine connections rather than just trying to get specific outcomes. When you approach relationships this way, everything becomes easier because you're not fighting against human nature, you're working with it. So here's what this all means practically. Stop trying to convince her to like you and start creating reasons for her to convince herself. Stop being available for everything and start being selective with your time and attention. Stop revealing everything at once and start letting her discover you gradually. Most importantly, stop seeing attraction as something that either happens or doesn't, and start seeing it as something you can influence through understanding psychology, timing, and human nature. This isn't about manipulation, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally creates the conditions where love can grow. The men who understand this don't just get the girl, they get the right girl, someone who's genuinely excited to be with them rather than just settling for their attention. And that difference makes all the difference in the world.